I'm Scott Moore, and I'm a performance engineer. I help to make software and applications faster, better, more resilient. Lately, there's one thing on my mind.
Where's the best barbecue at, man?
So I'm going across the country, talking about performance engineering and barbecue. Join me as we take the performance tour.
Hey everybody, Scott Moore in my Farmers Only outfit. Yes, proud American. Traveling across the state of Colorado today, heading towards Denver, Colorado. And I just found out that there's going to be an Ethereum Denver conference happening the same time that I'm coming into town. And one of my friends, Zach Cole from Whiteblock, is going to be there. So performance testing, blockchain, and cryptocurrency solutions is, we know that people should be talking about it from a performance engineering standpoint, but not many are doing that. And Whiteblock is one of the few that have taken it head on. So I want to take this opportunity to try to connect with Zach and introduce you to him and the Whiteblock solution. So let's see where this goes. We are at Ethereum Denver in the conference that, you know, I'm kind of out of my normal league here, I got to say, but I'm with Zach Cole. This is his main spot, and he's one of the few companies, Whiteblock, that has taken on performance in crypto and blockchain like nothing I've ever seen. It's taken you probably a couple of years to really kind of come out with your solution, and I was there when he launched Whiteblock, so I've been wanting to talk to him ever since. But this is Zach. Why don't you tell the users, the viewers of the Performance Tour, who you are and what you do?
Right, yeah. So my name's Zach. I'm founder and CEO of Whiteblock. We started in around late 2017 or so, and I got into the crypto space. I got into Bitcoin around 2012. I got into Ethereum around 2015. And the problem that I encountered in the space was that there weren't any purpose-built tools for, specifically for like Web3 or distributed systems, and like especially Ethereum at the time. And everyone was just kind of like building these protocols, flying by the seat of their pants, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I was, working in, working at apps that you're familiar with them, and as a performance network testing company. So I just kind of like applied my knowledge from traditional client server architectures to, and my background in engineering and distributed systems to focus more on like peer-to-peer primitives and like the what we're now referring to as the Web3 stack. Mm-hmm. And that's Ethereum. So I've been involved in the Ethereum like core development space for a couple of years, and for the past 2 years or so I've been working on ETH 2.0, and as we get closer to launch, it's becoming more and more important that the protocols we're implementing are performant, because now we're targeting a much larger market that includes enterprise and government and traditional business. So we need to make sure that we have purpose-built tools that help these organizations understand the value of the technologies and the protocol stacks that we're building, and also enable them to build better business solutions and like new business models on top of a decentralized peer-to-peer platform.
Now, this is a whole different crowd than what you're going to find at an HP conference at some Vegas conference, right?
Yeah.
So this is the group of people who are developing the solutions, though. I'm curious, do they have performance in mind when they're building this stuff? And if not, how are we raising that awareness? I know you're doing your part, but what do we do?
It really depends. A lot of like the narrative shifts every year, because we're we're still building, and we're still understanding like what our capabilities are in terms of use cases and potential technological solutions. So currently, like the narrative for the past several months, has been like decentralized finance, call it DeFi.
Right.
And that's really more smart contract oriented. So that type of stuff sits on the application layer essentially. So the lower level protocol primitives, there's very actually few teams that are capable or focused on these lower level protocols. So it's really complicated because we're in a peer-to-peer system. So traditionally you have a client speaking to a server, and you have multiple clients that are speaking to single servers or clusters of servers. But within the Web3 stack, you have your application, which is running on top of a protocol stack that acts as a client and a server, and communicates with other nodes within the network that are also performing as singletons essentially, and it's an asynchronous distributed system. So it's much different than these traditional client-server architectures that are much higher performing because they're centralized. You can always scale, horizontally, right? So
it's like Facebook relationships. It's complicated.
Yeah. So I mean, well, we're still figuring it out.
So and because of that, you really can't go too far in the future. So just think from now to the next year.
Yeah.
What do you see the biggest change that needs to happen to make these applications perform better? What's the one thing we can do?
So I think the focus and I think the focal point really needs to shift from, or not necessarily focus, but we need to spread more awareness into defining what that Web3 stack actually is and what peer-to-peer primitives and protocols we're going to use, and we need to start standardizing. And that's really what's necessary, because there are multiple blockchains that serve different purposes and have different architectures, but no one of them is going to rule them all in the future. I think it's what we're looking for is interoperability, so something similar to the OSI. So we have this traditional OSI that allows my Linux machine to communicate with your Mac, right? And those are the types of protocol stacks that we need to formally specify and understand and identify and define. And
Completely
we need to build
agree.
some more. We need to build new primitives,
right,
that are inherently secure by design, and more catered toward a peer-to-peer environment. So
and just to say, you've got standardization, you've mentioned that word, but in a decentralized world, that's a lot more difficult to do. But like
Absolutely.
you said, there has to be some line in the sand that you have, that everybody has to talk to at least this, right?
Right, but there isn't really much of a primitive there. So, I mean, everything, even different clients that are like ETH2 clients, for example, there's no standardized API, right? And until middle of last year, there wasn't even a wire protocol that was formally defined.
Wow.
So
it really is wild west at this point.
Yeah. Guns blazing.
So now we're
for it.
are we looking for somebody to rise above and say this is the leader that we follow them, or there is no more leaders?
There's no more leaders. We're creating new economies, and we're creating new structures of interacting and communicating and sharing data, right? And I think really what this is about, it's like privacy, it's about self-sovereign identity, being able to own your own data. I mean, if you think about what the Amazon and the Googles of Facebooks of today are, multi-billion-dollar companies, not because they developed great applications. They're multi-billion-dollar companies because they're gatekeepers to our data.
That's right.
And that's the commodity of the future. So what we're building are systems that allow individuals to take ownership over that data and commoditize that data,
right,
and be able to partake in that economy as individuals.
Why shouldn't I be paid for my data that
Exactly.
I share
Right.
with some company?
So that's what we're building.
That's awesome. Well, if there's anybody that can attack this, it's Zach and White Block. And I wish you all the success in the world. Let's keep talking. And thanks for being on the Performance Tour. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah.
Well, after that interview, Zach was really tired and he couldn't come with me on any eating adventure, and I totally understand that. But hey, I'm in the Denver area. There's always a place I like to come visit. It's called The Fort, and I can't wait to share the experience with you. But before I do, how about we check out some of this great Denver outdoor living, shall we?